Now, the Advertising Standards Authority has cleared an ad campaign which says that humane milk is a myth. That is despite complaints from the dairy industry about the advert from the group Go Vegan World. Milk producers said it wasn't accurate and it was misleading in the way that it described how cows are separated from their calves. Well, Jenny is a free-range dairy farmer in the southwest. She spoke to 5 Live earlier.
Cows, we know, are sentient beings. We love our animals. We've been doing this for a long, long time, and I just think that the picture they're portraying is wrong. It is vicious. It isn't truthful. You know, cows soon forget about their calves. It isn't the same as human beings, not quite. You know, we love them as much as anyone does, and we think it's just going a little bit too far. What the vegans are doing at the moment.
Let's talk about this in a bit more detail with Veronika Powell, a biologist who works as a campaigner with another vegan advocacy group called Viva. Hello, Veronika.
Hello.
And Dr. Dwayne Mellor is with us as well, a dietitian and spokesperson for the British Dietetic Association. Hello to you.
Hello.
Veronika, it was interesting hearing what Jenny had to say there, in that we do, well, she said dairy farmers do care for their animals, but they aren't exactly the same as humans. They do their best. They do the best they can with them, essentially.
Yes, I mean, I've heard this before so many times, and I don't question that in their own specific way, farmers do love and care for their animals. But it's all about how we've come to accept that this is some sort of a normal scenario, that there's this whole industry based on the exploitation of the female reproductive cycle, because the cows are impregnated, usually forcibly impregnated every single year. Every single year they have their newborn calf removed from them just so we can drink their milk. And then these tiny little calves are put in solitary isolation for the first few weeks of their life, and no matter which angle you look at it from, it's just not right. It's not humane, and the animals are suffering and they're stressed. And you know, this is not a question of opinion, it's a fact, because you can measure so many things about, you know, specific calls between the cows and their calves, stress hormones, their heart rate. It's something that really does stress them out.
Well, the Advertising Standards Authority have clearly decided there is weight behind that argument, because they've said that this advert can go ahead. Is that what you were expecting, hoping to hear?
Definitely hoping for, and there's more than enough evidence to back it up, but it's definitely a landmark decision on behalf of ASA to admit that this is the reality.
Dr. Dwayne Mellor, I mean, parents in particular will listen to this, but all of us will listen to this and say, well, look, we're told to drink milk because it's good for us. We need the calcium for our bones.
Yeah, it's definitely a useful food, and for many people, including their diet, is a good way of getting the protein, the calcium, and other vitamins, something like B12, which can be challenging to achieve from a completely meat-free vegan diet. And you know, so it's about personal choice and it's about information, and you can appreciate both sides of this argument. The key thing is, you know, we have a history of dairy farming in this country, you know, and there are rights and wrongs on both sides, and that is why it needs to be sort of given in a dispassionate way, so people can make informed choices, and how, if they wish to include in their diet, they can do, but also if they wish not to include in their diet, there's other things they can include as well.
Yeah. What kind of things are we talking about? Things like nut milks, that sort of thing?
Yeah, and there's a lot of sort of stories about nut milk being equivalent to milk, but they're tend to, unless you're looking at soy milks, have a lot less protein in, and you get some almond milks that can be only sort of 2, 3, 4% of the nuts. So they've been quite actually low in the product, and unless they've been fortified with the calcium, they can be a lot lower in calcium. And some are sweetened, so they can actually add to our free sugar intake, which we're increasingly aware of, that sugar is not a great thing to consume in large amounts, because it's not good for both in terms of risk of obesity, but in terms of general health. And you know, there's some discussion, some debates about the bioavailability, how easy it is to get the calcium out of these different sources. It's more in what's called a sort of a non-biological form, and that may be slightly different to absorb. You know, there's a bit of controversy about that, but there's some people that argue that calcium is easy to get out of milk.
Yeah, Veronika, what about that side of things, that argument that drinking milk is beneficial to humans, small ones in particular?
Well, we do quite a lot of work at Viva on the health and nutrition side of things, and I just have to say that it's not as questionable as it's being portrayed, whether nut milks or almond milks or soy milk is nutritionally adequate, because any milk is a very diluted liquid. And even the National Osteoporosis Society say that there's no need to drink milk for calcium, because it's being portrayed as if milk is the only source of calcium, but there's calcium in so many other plant foods.
Go elsewhere. Look, it's really interesting. Thank you both. Veronika Powell, a biologist from the vegan advocacy group Viva, and Dr. Dwayne Mellor as well, who's a dietitian from the British Dietetic Association.